First you take a drink, then the drink takes a drink, then the drink takes you. Follow 7 beers with a couple of scotches and a thimble of good marijuana, and it's funny how sleep just sort of comes on its own. Often I never even made it to the bed. I'd squat down to pet the cat and wake up on the floor 8 hours later, having lost a perfectly good excuse to change my clothes. For a quart of ale is a dish for a king. For art to exist, for any sort of aesthetic activity or perception to exist, a certain physiological precondition is indispensable: intoxication. For those who believe in God, most of the big questions are answered. But for those of us who can't readily accept the God formula, the big answers don't remain stone-written. We adjust to new conditions and discoveries. We are pliable. Love need not be a command nor faith a dictum. I am my own God. We are here to unlearn the teachings of the church, state, and our educational system. We are here to drink beer. We are here to kill war. We are here to laugh at the odds and live our lives so well that death will tremble to take us. From man's sweat and God's love, beer came into the world. Give me a woman who loves beer and I will conquer the world. Give my people plenty of beer, good beer, and cheap beer, and you will have no revolution among them. God has a brown voice, as soft and full as beer. He that drinketh strong beer and goes to bed right mellow, lives as he ought to live and dies a hearty fellow. He was a wise man who invented beer. He who drinks beer sleeps well. He who sleeps well cannot sin. He who does not sin goes to heaven. Amen. Here's a tip: never get drunk while wearing a hooded sweatshirt. You will eventually think there's someone right behind you. Here's to alcohol, the rose-colored glasses of life. Here's to long life and a merry one. A quick death and an easy one. A pretty girl and an honest one. A cold beer and another one. High school isn't a very important place. When you're going you think it's a big deal, but when it's over nobody really thinks it was great unless they're beard up. Hitler was the archetype of the abstemious man. When the other crowds saw him drink water in the beer hall, they should have known he was not to be trusted. Humankind was built on beer. From the world's first writing to its first laws, in rituals social, religious, and political, civilization is soaked in beer. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts and beer. I am not an alcoholic. I am a drunk, and there is a vast difference. I can party like a 24-year-old, but it takes me almost a week to recover. I can't die until the government finds a safe place to bury my liver. I don't think I've drunk enough beer to understand that. I feel like getting plushed to the scuppers. I feel sorry for people that don't drink, because when they wake up in the morning, that is the best they are going to feel all day. I hate men who smell like beer and bean dip, and making love in the back of recreational vehicles. I hate to advocate drugs, alcohol, violence, or insanity to anyone, but they've always worked for me. I have drunk ale from the country of the young, and weep because I know all things now. I have often regretted what I have eaten, but never what I have drunk. I have respect for beer. I like beer. On occasion, I will even drink beer to celebrate a major event such as the fall of communism or the fact that the refrigerator is still working. I like beer. I should like a great lake of ale, for the King of Kings. I should like the family of heaven to be drinking it through time eternal. I spent a lot of money on booze, birds, and fast cars. The rest I just squandered. I think a man ought to get drunk at least twice a year just on principle, so he won't let himself get snotty about it. I think getting drunk is the key to flying comfortably. I think the warning labels on alcoholic beverages are too bland. They should be more vivid. Here is one I would suggest: alcohol will turn you into the same asshole your father was. I try to stay 2 drinks ahead of reality and 3 behind a drunk. I understood drinking to be the gasoline of all adventure. I wanna be drunk. And make you drunk. Because I'm intimidated by you. I need to feel free to say anything, and know that you'll forgive me. I want a beer. I want a giant, ice-cold bottle of beer and shower sex. I want to sit under a linden tree with nothing more important to worry about but the temperature of the beer. If there is anything more important. I was at a bar nursing a beer. My nipple was getting quite soggy. I tried to straighten him out, but there's only so much you can do for a person who thinks Auschwitz is a brand of beer. I'm a beer man. I tried to drink whiskey and scotch, but I don't get it. It smells like a girl who didn't shower and just splashed a lot of perfume on. I'm an occasional drinker, the kind of guy who goes out for a beer and wakes up in Singapore with a full beard. I'm only here for the beer. I've drunk more beer and banged more quiff and pissed more blood and stomped more ass than all of you numbnuts put together. I've only been in love with a beer bottle and a mirror. If getting drunk was how people forgot they were mortal, then hangovers were how they remembered. If I have a near beer, I'm near beer. And if I'm near beer, I'm close to tequila. And if I'm close to tequila, I'm adjacent to cocaine. If I only drink beer, nothing stronger, then by the end of the night I can generally recognize myself as a reasonable human being, and more importantly, wake up that way. If I wanted water, I would have asked for water. If merely feeling good could decide, drunkenness would be the supremely valid human experience. If there was a pill that allowed you to drink and not get drunk, an alcoholic would go, what happens if you take 2? If there's one thing that makes a man sick, it's to have his ale poured out of an ugly hand. If you ever reach total enlightenment while drinking beer, I bet it makes beer shoot out your nose. If you had a ministry box set under your Christmas tree, wrapped in paper, from beer to eternity is the bough that goes around the present, you know what I mean? If you want to know where God is, ask a drunk. If you're thirsty, a drink will cure it. If you're not, a drink will prevent it. Prevention is better than a cure. Imagination is like the drunk man who lost his watch and must get drunk again to find it. Thank you for watching. Please, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.